Yo, GM, what's good, AFM community? It has been a while. Let me know. I know there's not too many people showing up tonight. It's the first one back in a long time. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a slow start until we get these rolling a little bit more consistently. Give me a GM in the chat if you can hear me. If things sound all right, if the levels are okay. And I'll get this going real soon. Just taking a look around at things. Getting used to the Twitch platform. Okay. What is good, everyone? It's your boy, 0x Rapture, back from a hiatus from doing these streams. It's been a while. It's been a couple months, actually. Far too long. Figured it was about time we get back to doing these. Can you guys hear me all right? Is the volume okay? Is the picture working? Is the Twitch stream working? Is the YouTube working? Wherever people are joining from. Let's take a look what we got here. 1111 Moses says GM all. Sounds good. Thank you. Glad to have the streams back. Well, thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here. Hi K's, or hi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is saying GM as well. Got about 7 of you here right now. Small turnout, I know. Wasn't expecting anything crazy today, but figured start these back up and get the consistency building back up again. So we'll just dig right in. Once again, my name is 0x Rapture, and welcome to The Daily Edge presents Astrology for Men, where I will chart any shitcoin with a pulse. This stream is brought to you by The Daily Edge. You can go sign up for the free daily newsletter at thedailyedge.com, written by the legendary on-chain wizard, providing daily actionable insights, intel, and information about the market from the preceding 24 hours. It gives a lot of breakdown on attention and trends and where capital is flowing on chain. And also brought to you by ChainEdge, chainedge.io. We are an on-chain analytics platform monitoring the real-time flows of the top 0.01% of DEX traders, tracking, of course, across EVM, ETH, Base, etc. But for most people, the more important thing is the Solana chain, and we do track that as well. So don't forget to go, if you're looking for a good place to follow flows and track wallets and profitable wallets and see where they're placing their capital. Well, ChainEdge is a great place to do that. And it's an accompaniment to the Daily Edge. Just looking around at a few chats. In a group chat, my buddy Munar is saying, wrapped live stream curse. Well, there is a little bit of lore, because when I first started these streams, it was on a very red day for the market. And there was a bit of, I don't know if it was a curse, more so that I just felt compelled to stream when everyone's sentiment was in the gutter or feeling down, just to show people what they can look out for and how to protect their capital or where to enter the market when the opportunity arises. So I thought that maybe today would be a good day to bring that back. So yeah, we're back with the bloody market curse. Speaking of, why don't we take a look at majors so you can get a look at what is taking place right now. Here we go. Move myself out of the way. And as we can see, oof, it is quite red right now. Wow, ETH is just, ETH is just falling hard. This is ETH right here. Wow. You can see total 3 is threatening a daily lower low in market structure. Let's open this up, get a look. I mean, that would not be great if total 3 made a lower low on daily, breaking market structure. It's not looking too pretty right now. Not much I can say about that. The demand had been holding for, we created that range back in end of November, early December. We've been trading that range, and now total 3, which is the total crypto market cap less Bitcoin and Ethereum, is breaking down. Not what we want to see. Let's take a look at BTCD. BTC dominance is just skyrocketing. For people that follow along in the AFM Telegram group, I haven't been as active for the last little while. The market's been really busy, and I've been busy with some things at ChainEdge with our upcoming terminal release that I haven't been as active, or I really haven't been that active at all, but I have made a point of posting a daily macro overview. And for those of you who have been following along, we've been monitoring BTCD, BTC dominance. And the other day, it flipped the daily range. It had been trading in a bearish daily range. And originally, we were looking for it to come up into here and to reject. But then it created a bullish structure closed above the range. And I outlined this level right here. And that's exactly where it bounced from. And BTC dominance is just absolutely skyrocketing right now. What's up, JJ? I see you in the chat. GM. Thank you for joining. So when BTC is skyrocketing like this, while the rest of the market is doing this, and this is BTC here, when the rest of the market is doing this, it means that alts are going down harder, and you can expect them to go down harder than Bitcoin because people are doing the flight to safety into Bitcoin. And if we're looking right now, man, oh man, Bitcoin back down towards the 3-day range lows. We're getting really close. We're going to want bulls to start stepping in here soon. This is the level to watch. 90,500 on the Binance Perps chart, which is one of the dominant charts in crypto that people trade off of. We're down to the bottom of the 3-day range. And for everyone that's been following along, I did outline, we ran the top of the range, then we did this sweep here, and I was like, well, you know what? I think we're going to trade back to the bottom of the range, and here we are. Here we are. And a lot of this, so there was this right here was the DeepSeek scare that had crypto selling off. But was that really what it was, or was the market looking for a reason to sell? Because we formed the range, the 3-day range, back in December. The range formed from the low here on a 3-day time scale. Here, I'll show you the 3-day chart. It's a lot clearer. There's the 3-day. We had the swing low that created the swing high, creating a higher high above the previous 3-day high. We created the range. We traded down to the bottom of the range. Now we've traded to the top of the range. And now we're coming back to the bottom of the range. So we're really just trading this range. Depending on what happens here, I mean, the 3-day has pretty much 3 days until close. It just opened with the daily open today at midnight UTC. So we've come down. I suspect we're probably going to run this level at a minimum. You really do want to see it sweep that, but if this ends up as a sweep, I think we do some chop and then run back to the top of the range because we are just trading in a range. Now, if we close below this on the 3-day, then we're looking into some trouble. And then we're looking to maybe see what happens back at previous all-time high. But for now, I mean, it's very reminiscent of this range that we traded. Sorry, my toolbox is in the middle there. I like having them in the middle for easy accessibility, but I'll move this over here. We traded this range from March to November. It was a long ass range. And, maybe we're in for months of chop again. Who knows? I mean, I've sort of been talking about that. I extended these lines out a couple days ago, just as like to highlight to some friends of mine. And I also posted it on X about max pain being, we just chop this range. And I jokingly put it all the way over here to August. I can't predict. We don't like to predict things beyond maybe the next 1 to 2 moves, but this is what we're doing for now. Good to be aware of. We can take a look. Wow, ETH is really that's quite a move that ETH put in there. So we're looking here, maybe it's going to sweep this, but it came down into, I believe this is weekly. This is a weekly level. Yeah, this is weekly demand. So ETH's come down into weekly demand. The week just started, mind you, so who knows how it's going to end up, but this is where you would expect buyers to step in on a weekly time frame. Daily, put in a lower low a couple days ago, came up. People were getting really bullish when ETH got back up into here. But on a daily time frame, it had put in a lower low when it closed below this level here. If you can see, there was a swing low of the bearish range that ETH was on. It closed below. It came up, ran the highs. People were getting really bullish ETH here, but it did a sweep of the high, which is why daily time frame signals are so important and so clean, because you got a sweep of the daily high. Market was already looking a little bit ass. Look at what we've done now. That is an insane move. Wow. And Solana is still in a daily bullish range. Similar to ETH, though, put in a sweep here. And when that happened, I wrote about in the AFM Telegram group that I was like, well, we're probably going to reject from that. I believe I wrote about it. I was talking about it, and there's the follow through. Now, the one signal that was pretty clean on Solana was a couple weeks ago when everyone got really bullish, when everyone started getting really long Solana after the Trump token. You had a weekly sweep of the all-time high level. And weekly, like I always say, you go a high time frame. The highest time frame is the cleanest signal. Well, you've got a weekly sweep of the all-time high. Didn't close above, you got a sweep. Well, there's the result of that. And we're back down into weekly demand, which is where you'd expect to find buyers. Now, we don't know what the rest of the market's going to be saying. It'll be really interesting to see New York open tomorrow with all this tariff scare. We are seeing some buyers step into this daily demand area and weekly demand area on Solana. So far buyers are stepping in. We're seeing a little bit of a dip now on BTCD here as well. But wow, that is quite a candle on BTC dominance. And here's futures for NASDAQ. Why futures? Well, because the equity markets are closed at the moment, and we had a massive gap down. It's bounced a bit, but it's still quite a gap down on NASDAQ. So tomorrow morning is going to be turbulent. Some other coins we could look at. Let's take a look at just scanning over here. I mean, wow, that is a lot of red. And we're looking at everything pretty much double digits down. Double digits down across the board. That is, wow, ETH is minus 15.5%. Crazy. Yesterday, when I was looking at the market, and I was looking at BTCD going up, and prices were, sitting around here on Bitcoin, and ETH was sitting up around here. I actually took some of my ETH and I swapped it for Bitcoin because I was like, I feel like a nuke is coming. I wanted to protect downside risk, and I also, given how strong BTCD is, felt like once we do bottom and find a reversal, that BTC is going to be a stronger asset to hold. So I did some of that when we were around here, and ETH was around here, and obviously that was the right move. This is really concerning for total 3, because if this loses the daily structure, we're kind of fucked for a while for altcoins. Now, on-chain, brand new on-chain shitters aren't accounted for in total 3, so it's not the end of the world for on-chain. On-chain, I think, will find risk on earlier than most other places, but wow, this is ugly. Munar, what's good, buddy? Good to have you. Okay, well, enough about majors. No, I like to start with majors, but I know you guys aren't here to talk about majors. We're here to look at our on-chain shitters. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to ask before we move along? You guys got any questions for me? Take this screen off. I've also had a few questions about looking at workflow for the Chain Edge terminal. The Chain Edge terminal is still in closed beta, and there's still more features to come and more improvements to come. And we'll do a more in-depth run through once we get closer to that public release. But I will do a little bit of a walkthrough so that people can take a look. In fact, what I'll do is I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up now, and we can take a look through. Let me just switch my screen sharing. And there it is. There is the homepage of the Chain Edge terminal. It's still in test phase. Still work to be done, but we've got here on the Discover page is a visual representation of the attention dashboard. For those of you familiar with Chain Edge and our attention dashboard, well, this is a more visual representation of that. Trump coin still commanding a large amount of attention and mind share, even though its thing has been down only for anyone that bought after day 2 or day 3. Got Farcoin up there. ARC is still pretty high. UFD, Gyat coin. And some of the other panels, on-chain strength is just the top gainers with high volume on the day. You can go through the lists, take a look at what's been strong, try and find trades that way. We have the sidebar, which has a new version of our alpha stream, which combines whale activity on coins that reach a certain market cap and the top 40 holders of those to track some of their current activity, as well as some of the wallets from Chain Edge. And Soul Trench. This is a high volume new launch dashboard so that you can try and catch new tokens really early. And this is where I spend a lot of time. Now, they're not always new tokens. It's just high volume and short bursts. Sometimes it catches older coins. Look at that. Griffins or Griffane is catching some bids, but it is down quite a bit. And there's some Twitter feed in here as well. We got trending tokens, which is also another way to visualize the attention dashboard. Look at that. There are some coins that are up right now. I mean, Edwin saying 45%. And a feature that a lot of people have been liking is Trench Scope. It's a new way to interpret things like Pump Vision or Meme Scope. It's the Chain Edge version of it, which so you can monitor things as they're graduating. You got pump tokens here. Really not gearing you towards pre-bonding. Mostly you want to just find them early here so that you can do a little bit of research. And then once they reach into the Soul Trench volume is where you can have some fun. And it's been a great resource for finding coins early. And it also has the alpha stream over here. So you can really see the flow. So say a coin pops up here, you're doing research, then all of a sudden you start seeing some whale activity over here on that coin. You're like, okay, maybe this is a good dip to buy, or this is a good coin to be buying. Okay, just taking a look in the chat. And what's your current portfolio structure? At the moment, it's quite pared down. I don't hold any shit coins. I don't hold anything on chain, I actually folded. I mean, anyone that's known me and been following along with the streams for a while knows that I don't like to hold things very long term. So I'm already predisposed to be an aggressive profit taker. But at the moment, I hold no on-chain pairs. Anything that I did have left over the last 2 to 3 days, I was folding into USDC, into stable coins. Like I said yesterday, I swapped some of the ETH that I have for Bitcoin. And I still hold Solana because I use that to trade in and out of. So I actually folded a large portion of my portfolio down into either into stables or into earning yield on Solana that I can't touch. Well, I can touch it. It just requires quite a few steps to be able to get to it so that I don't do anything crazy. And I've just maintained day-to-day gamble levels of Solana so that I can take any opportunities that come up when the timing is right. I mean, there's still opportunities every day. There's still coins that have their runs. Every day you can find something. It's just a little bit, the rotations are quite intense and quick. So you want to be in and out super quickly. You don't want to marry anything in this environment. So yeah, I mean, I do still hold some ETH, but that ETH has also been locked into restaking contracts that it's been there for so long that a dip like this, yes, it's painful to watch, but also I haven't been really thinking about that ETH for a long time. But pretty much the construction of my portfolio is, I'd say Solana is probably one of my larger holdings, which as I said, is in some protocols earning yield on it. Solana, some ETH, some Bitcoin, and then stable coins right now. And I think moving forward, because the market cycle is getting a lot more choppy, taking profits into the stable coins is probably going to be a good strategy for the foreseeable future. Use things like Solana to swap in and out of to get levered growth by trading new launch shitcoins. Yeah, not much more to say about my portfolio at the moment. Just keeping gamble amounts spread across several wallets so that I can't just go all in this environment, that I need to be selective and in a scalping mindset so that I'm not going too crazy, because so many of these coins are regging so quickly that it's not the best environment to be keeping large amounts easily accessible to just gamble away. So I'm being quite conservative. I mean, you can see on my chain edge terminal, look, I've only got 5 SOL there. Like, that's not a lot, right? And this is for testing purposes as well. Like, this isn't my primary trading wallet, but I'm trying to keep things low so that I'm not blowing myself up. And if I do end up losing that, it's not the end of the world, right? Let's see in the chat. Another question. What would you be looking for to begin bidding altcoins? By altcoins, do you mean like sex pair altcoins or just like any altcoin, like on-chain shitters? Because those are two different things. I don't typically trade sex pairs. I'm not really a perps trader, even though that is where I learned the system that I use to trade. I'm not really a perps trader. In terms of for on-chain, you just want to find volume, and you need to be tapped in on a daily basis to understand the type of market that we're trading in. So at the moment, and for the past little while, rotations have been incredibly fast. And what you just look for is you follow volume. So if we're looking at this trend scope, like, let's take a look. Okay. Here's a token. It's 8 minutes old, the last ping. So how this works, this middle panel, this trench feed, is it gets updates in volume bursts on coins that are getting high volume, and they'll cycle through. Now, there's not much happening on chain right now, so there's not too much, but like this one just pinged 40, like less than a minute ago. So let's take a look. And it opens up, and you have that same feed over here to the left side. So you can do all your trading and notice things happening really quickly. So what you're looking for is high volume. And I mean, this has high, like it's got a decent amount of soul quantity in the last ping. You can do your quick research. You know, that opened up to this next page. I have no idea what this is. Self-help sing. Okay, we'll come back here. So, I mean, you're just trying to find volume, right? Depending on your trading strategy and what type of coins you're looking to trade on chain. Like if you're in the front end of the spear, in this hyper volatile new pairs, well, you want to be following volume. You got to do a little bit of research to see, okay, is this potentially a real or a fake token? Do a little bit of sleuthing, looking at holders, checking out bundles. Bullshit fantasy coin. I mean, yeah, this pinged. So this is now, it's had its second ping. You can see this updated here, and the amount of SOL being bought is going up. So a minute ago when this first pinged, so the price was down around here. I mean, yeah, there was a trade. If you're going to be really quick and prepare to be in and out, right? You know, so you could toss like a SOL, half a SOL too. So like it depends on how much you're trying to gamble here, right? Like this is the very front end of the spear on gambling, right? So I wouldn't do more than 5 Solana in something like this, usually lower, especially in this environment. You know, you check your gas, looking good, and then you fire away. In terms of other coins, like if you look at our trending, you can see, okay, this Edwin coin's been trending. It's up on the day. It's got attention. So let's take a look at what it's looking like. So I think this coin's a few days. So it's 9 days old. Wow, a 9-day-old coin feels ancient in this environment. But even then, look at this chart. Doesn't look too great, does it? But anyways, as we get a little bit closer to the public release for the Chain Edge terminal, we'll do a lot more reviews of that stuff. It's a wonderful tool for discovery. Like this is a very powerful dashboard, especially when you get to see real-time whale activity. And the amount of wallets in here will expand over time. And there are plans to incorporate user additions for wallets they want to track. It's planned for a future release. So you can add some of your favorite wallets to monitor, and those would pop up here as well. Munar has said, can you take a look at Hype? Sure, we can take a look at Hype. And we've also got a couple chart requests, not too many today. I mean, there's only 9 people here. So if people actually in the chat want to add a few, I don't think there's been too many. I think if I go and take a look through the AFM Telegram group, yeah, not too many. We've got Vine, MLG, Trump, Fartcoin, and Unicorn Fart Dusts. And Munar requested Hype. And I didn't want to do too many requests today. I want to keep the stream sort of short just to get back into the swing of things. And also overall, I want to bring back the consistency for the streams, but I want to make them shorter because they were going anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, and that's just overkill. It was takes a lot of time to put them on because usually it's about a half an hour of prep before the show and then the show, and then after the show, I'd just be exhausted and I'd need about an hour to get caught up on things that I've missed happening in the market in that time, as well as just to rest. It's funny because you wouldn't think, but just sitting essentially talking to yourself for 2 to 3 hours, how mentally and physically draining that can be. Okay, so Munar has requested I take a look at hype. So what I'll do is I will open Hyperliquid. And here we go. Here's the Hyperliquid interface. See if that's working. It's working. Wonderful. So Munar, you asked about Hyperliquid. So this is this is actually I've had drawn out from a while ago. But let's start fresh. You guys know I like to start fresh. It's been a while since I've been talking about the system and everything that we do and how we find things. You know, we go high time frame bias. What's your market structure? Is it bullish or bearish on a high time frame, say daily, depending on how much chart history there is. And then you're looking for your supply and demand zones and your entry triggers on lower time frames. So you all know that I like to do a few things, mark out some key levels, some key swing points, which is something that I do for any chart. I mark out some of those key areas. So a while back, hype made bearish structure on daily when it closed below here. And you can see, you know, you got that was your daily range, and then it closed below, so then it created a new range. But up until a few days ago, it was a bearish range. But look at that. We've had a higher high on daily. So we can mark that out. There's when it created the higher high. Let's go ahead and draw on our demand. There's the demand zone for hype. Why is this? Why did that create a higher high? Well, because you had a daily bearish daily range high that it closed above. And here's the swing low that created the swing high, creating a higher high, making a bullish market structure shift. So there's your range for hype. It's come back into demand. You want to see this level hold. Now, if tomorrow for New York Open, equities open with a flush, you know, are these levels going to hold? We'll have to see. But hype has been strong against the market. You could say hype and Bitcoin have been some of the flight to safety assets that people have been trying to hoover up at cheaper prices because they think long term going to protect downside while also giving better upside. So there is your hype range. Swing low, swing high, daily bullish range. It's into demand. Let's take a look. Well, look at that. It's even done an H4 sweep. Now it's threatening to close below this H4. But you could be, I don't know why it did that, but you could be monitoring that. All right, it did a sweep. Now it's threatening it again, but it is currently in the process of sweeping this H4 range low, which is generally a good trigger, especially if you're in a bullish demand zone on high time frame. You're looking for those lower time frame triggers. Well, this could be it. So if you were looking, if say you're playing this on spot, well, you could just be buying here and in hopes that the whole market's going to start going up and then you're buying the bottom. If you're playing this on perps, well, you put your stop down here. Entry as close to that as possible, like if it comes further down, but it's already sweeping this level. So, you know, you'd have your stop down here and you're looking for it to run back to the top of the range. But for now, I mean, hype looks good. It's looks a lot better than all the majors that we looked at so far today. It looks a lot better. So hype actually looks okay. Hype actually looks okay. Okay, so let's get to some of the other requests. Let's take a look. We had a request for Vine. So let's take a look at Vine. pop it into here. Pull it up. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Okay, so this is me trading it on day one. What do we have going on now? It's a tough one because on H4, there's no real clear market defining. Okay. It's a tough one to chart because this one is also on perps. But if I were to chart this, I mean, right now you're looking at what happens here. You know what? I might pull this up on BullX because I do really like the charts on BullX. So maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe that's what we'll do. Can you guys see my, yes, there we go. Okay. Okay, so let's start high time frame. Daily. Okay, well, you are into an area of daily demand. There isn't a swing low here, though, and you guys know that I like a market structure defining demand, but I mean, at the moment, this is what we've got to work with. H4 as well. Well, I think you can say if Vine loses this level, it's pretty much game over, right? So what is that? That's 105, 106 million. It's come pretty close to that swing, that inter-range swing low on H4. There's not really much to say about H1 because H1 has been really choppy and it's bearish on H1. I think if you're saying to yourself, okay, I'd rather wait for this to flip bullish on H1 before debating or before deciding to pull the trigger, because I mean, the market is, you're trading a counter trend for everything right now, right? Like the market is firmly in a downside trajectory. But I think if you're waiting for if you're waiting to buy with trend, well, what we can see here, here's H1 supply. Here's your H1 range high. It's a bearish H1, but if you get a close above this level, then you'd look to buy somewhere in here. But at the moment, you're just sort of potentially trying to catch a knife. Now, it has held up better than a lot of coins, and we can look at some other coins to see how they look on chain. But at the moment, it has held up better than a lot of other coins. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for this area to hold. You're in particular looking for 106 million approximately to hold the low. But if you're trying to decide whether you want to buy or not, well, you could wait for this H1 to start to put in a swing low and then see where your range low ends up being. And if you wanted to play that on a sweep back up to the top of the range, or you'd wait for this to flip bullish and you look to buy demand. Not really much to do here now. Like, yes, there are buyers stepping in here. But this is the definition of catching a falling knife right now. Unless you actually get like an H4 sweep of that. If you get an H4 candle that sweeps that level, closes above, there's your signal. At the moment, you know, it's free falling and at the mercy of the market because it is available on perps. So you have to contend with the fact that there's a different type of trader in this coin. In fact, I think you can trade it. You can short it on Hyperliquid. Take a look in the chat. Munar said, "Thank you. No problem, buddy. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for your request." Okay, what else did we have? We had MLG. Let's take a look at MLG. I really do love this clipboard copy, one click that BullX has. Actually just started testing out another platform that also has it. Still in early days, but once that becomes more widely available, I'll share ref links for it. It's another platform, and the platform is called Axiom. Still early on that one, but from what I've seen so far, it's quite smooth. Okay, so looking at MLG here, let's go high time frame, see what we got. Mark up some key levels. Let's see, did that? No, it didn't in fact close above. So clear upside cap, where as soon as price gets there, people are willing to sell. What do we have? Okay, so there is a daily fair value gap here that's been acting as demand almost perfectly. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 tags. Goes back to the top of the range. I mean, you could say to yourself, maybe if it comes back down in here, or maybe if you get daily sweep of that. I mean, it is still bullish. It's just, is this just distribution before the inevitable? This is the thing. Like, at this stage of the game, after a massive run up like that, is this going to 300 million, a billion? I mean, I don't know. Take a look at H4. See what H4 has been saying. Yeah, I mean, the swing low for H4 is all the way down. Excuse me. Yeah, part of this is like the H4 range. Did that close above or was that below? No, it didn't close above. So your H4 range, your H4 range is from here to here. So you're still just chopping away inside of this massive H4 range. I think you say to yourself, it's never actually ran the range low. So, and given where the market's at right now, it's not inconceivable that it might come down here to test the actual range low because it hasn't yet done that. It's daily fair value gap. It's tagged the H4 demand, as you can see here. If I move this to actually highlight the H4 demand, there it is there. It came down into the H4 demand. So we can actually just box that whole area out to incorporate the daily fair value gap into the H4 demand. And there's your range. I think what you're saying to yourself right now is if this level sweeps, you might have a trigger to buy, or if it loses it, then I'd be looking for bottom of the range because it has yet to actually come down to the bottom of the range. Overall, held stronger than a lot of other coins. This also just looks like textbook distribution, right? Like it's had its good run. Where does this really go from here? We're really not in a holders market anymore. We're very much in a secure the bag market and heavy rotations game. And holders are typically being punished quite a lot this cycle. And I mean, you've had signs of where to sell, right? You made the range, came back up, swept the high, perfect exit signal. And then it came all the way down, right? Ran it up again, swept the high. This is why high time frame signal is so useful. That's the massive. I'm gonna make that smaller. There we go. This is why high time frame signal of a range high, or any signal on high time frame, right? Like you get a range high sweep, you get a range low sweep, you get inter-range sweeps. On high time frame, they can be really good signal of where to exit a coin. And that's actually part of why I wanted to do this stream today, was because I know a lot of people have round tripped a lot of profits or have taken losses by holding things. And for a while, and also part of the reason why I didn't stream for a bit, was the way that I analyze charts and the system that I use wasn't as useful because things were in up only mode. So yes, you can find your pullback entries, but beyond that, figuring out ultimately where things were going to go was a lot harder, and people were being rewarded for top blasting, which is no longer the case, right? Had you been top blasting this while it's sweeping, well, that's clear signal. So part of the reason why I was excited to start the streams up again is to reteach the lessons of the system so that people can know what to look for, so that they're not filling themselves with hopium, and they can recognize the signs to know, okay, maybe it's a good time to sell. And high time frame range high, you get sweeps. We'll look at the result both times. Sweep, boom, sweep. Now we're here, we're sort of mid-range, right? Like if I fib this, we're probably middle of the range. Yeah, we're just below the middle of the range, and actually we're slightly below. So my gut would say it wants to come down here, but it is holding this level. So this is what I'd monitor for now. Right? It's actually a really clean chart if you want to just trade a range. Right? Formed the range, came back down, tagged demand in the fair value gap, ran the highs. Come back down, ran the highs. It's come back down. Now, is it going to do it again? Is it just going to keep chopping infinitely in this range? It's quite possible. There's a phrase, it's a range until proven otherwise, and right now it's in a range. So we'll have to see what happens. But right now you're looking for this to hold, and if not, then you really just probably want to get a proper flow as a trigger. If you're debating whether you hold here or sell, it's tough because it's mid-range. And look, we can even see here. Look at, oh, no, that closed above. So maybe you're saying to yourself, okay, this is my demand right now. And this is, well, yeah, that's what you're saying to yourself right now. Is I want this to hold to at least run up to here and reassess from there, right? Like if you get a sweep there, then you're probably a sell. But this, yeah, you could make a trade thesis off of this right now. You know, you see you had a close above this H4 level. That was the swing high. It's inter-range, so it's not the best risk reward because it's mid-range, inter-range sweep. But there is this demand here, and you are finding buyers here. So, and if you get here, if you close below here, or if you start coming down here, then you debate whether you're going to hold or not. Let's take a look in the chat. No other questions so far. Okay, let's take a look at the next request. Is Trump, official Trump coin, the coin that brought everyone to the yard and everyone feeling super bullish. It was a massive liquidity sink, kind of destroyed so many other coins. I got a little bit wrecked as well because it was like 2 Thursdays ago, I was DCAing pretty hard into some AI plays. And then the next day, the Trump coin drops and everything shits the bed except for Trump. And then we had the Melania coin a few days later. And since then, it's just been a roller coaster. Okay, let's clean this up and see what we've got. Do we have, I mean, as a daily chart, that looks just fucking horrible, right? It's just, if you didn't buy day one or part of day two, it's been down only, and the bounces have been tiny. If we go to H4, we can see that we've made an H4 lower low. Oops. And we close below there. So we're in a bearish H4 range. Right? There's your close below. And it even came up, tagged, and sold off. And at the moment, it's threatening another H4 lower low. Now, if this closes as a sweep, let's put the top of the H4 range. There's your H4 range, according to the Bullock chart. Now, each platform's a little bit different. I personally believe that because so many people are trading on Bullock or Photon, that they're generally the charts that people are looking at. So there's your bearish H4 range. It's threatening a fresh lower low on H4. Which one does that close? Why is it not showing me there? Okay, well, it closes in an hour and 10 minutes. So I'd be monitoring that, but it's not looking so hot. Now, if this ends up as a sweep, then you do have a thesis for a trigger. Okay, so yes, that time did just show up and that candle popped up there. Bullox actually has an issue for their 4-hour candles where the internal clock is not synced properly. And the 4-hour candle is supposed to close in 1 hour and 8 minutes, but it's saying 2 hours and 8 minutes. But the problem is this candle should actually still be a part of this candle. It's a weird glitch that they have, but we can still use that as a level. And if we go to H1, I mean, look, H1, we just printed a lower low. So I wouldn't touch this coin. I'm not a knife catcher. You want to buy with trend is always my thing, or at the very least, get a bearish range low sweep as a trigger, because then you know where you're invalidated pretty clearly. But on H1, there's your cluster of price action before the lower low. Here's the swing high. So if I were to get interested in this, now H1 on a coin of this market cap that is so choppy, probably not the cleanest signal. You probably want the H4, but regardless, if you really wanted to get into a trade, either wait for the range low to form, which would be at minimum 2 candles from now, like this candle closes, and then the next one, if it closes above here, then you get your swing low. And then you could look for a range low sweep play. But realistically, because of the way the market is, you probably want to wait for a bullish H1 close, and then you buy the retest in demand. It's not looking so pretty. I know lots of people made plenty of theses about how after Trump coin launched, it's the only coin to buy. Why would you want to buy any other meme coin? But it's been down only. Usually when people start saying things like that, it makes me quite bearish on that thing. Quite a few instances of that recently, like ARK, when it was up at the range highs, everyone's like, oh, it's going to $1 billion, it's going to $3 billion, it's going to whatever. Well, look at where it is now. Now, market dynamics has played a lot into that since. But ARK also made a daily lower low about a week ago before all this crazy market fuckery. So it's time to get back to charts, guys. It's time to get back to high time frame market structure and listening to signals, using our analysis, using the system, and listening to the signals, because they become quite reliable and quality again. And it's going to help you protect your downside and give you plenty of opportunity to get upside if you're buying with trend and with momentum. Just taking a look around. Well, look at that. Day 1 using Twitch. My first stream, and we've got 8 followers already. Thank you so much to everyone that's followed so far. My plan is to do these consistently and to aggressively grow the following and provide quality content and help you guys. My 2 goals when I started the Astrology for Men series was, number 1, help you grow your capital by understanding proper entries and buying with momentum, buying with trend, and knowing where to buy. And the second goal is to help you protect your capital, so you protect from downside. Now, of course, starting these streams up a few days ago would have been more beneficial to a lot of you, because I would have been able to point out some levels that were taking place and where you would be looking to cut. But here we are today. It's a red day. Let's just take a quick look again at the majors, because I'm just taking a quick glance, and I can see that there's doing some more Let's just take a second. Hold on. Okay, so BTC getting a sweep at this one level here, which is actually a daily level, not quite the 3-day, but we came pretty close and getting a good bounce. I mean, getting decent bounces across the board. ETH has come up quite a bit. It reached as low as 2130, and now it's back up to 2470. Decent bounce. Solana looking a little bit heavier, but on the overall drawdown, less than ETH. And Bitcoin's doing okay. I mean, we're still trading that range. This is still what's concerning me. This is what's concerning me, is this total 3. Because if you lose this on daily, it's going to be pain for alts for a while. Because even if you do get a bounce, you're going to come up into here and supply and see selling, right? So it's going to take some time. Okay, let's get back to the other charts. Let's back up. Any questions in the chat, by the way? 1111 Moses says, that's fantastic. Thank you, Rap. No problem. Do you have any particular questions? Was there a chart in particular that you were looking for answers on? Oh, 11. Okay, Moses. There we go. You have a different handle in here than you do in the AFM TG group, but I do see you there. No problem, Moses. Happy to get to it. I know you had a few other questions as well, so let me know if you had other questions. You'd like me to talk about ETH BTC chart if possible? Yeah, I can come back to that in a bit. Let's get through these other 2 requests. Next one up is Fartcoin. Now, Fartcoin is a perps coin as well. So I can also pull this up on TradingView and show you what's going on there. It's been a while since I've tried Fartcoin on here. Let's remove drawings. Let's go daily. Not looking so hot. It actually put in a bit of a bounce yesterday. I know a lot of people were starting to long it during the depths a few hours back. This is, oh, well, on here it made a low. Did that? Okay. I'm going to say that the perps chart is more reliable for this just because that's where the majority of the volume is taking place now. But I do see on the Bullocks chart at least, that you did close below this level as well. It was already in a bearish daily range. Here's your swing high. We have yet to fully put in a daily swing low yet. But it made bearish daily structure when it closed below that level. And then when we close below this level. Right? Lower low. Lower low. Look at that. It made perfect rejections off overhead supply. So now what we're saying is, okay, here's your current supply zone on daily. Here's your bearish. We don't quite have the lower low, the swing low yet, but there's your bearish range. It actually did on Bullocks close below here, but on the Binance perps chart, it closed above. So that's an important level. But there's your Fartcoin chart. Now, if the market bounces, I think people are probably going to long this pretty hard because it had already shown some relief yesterday. But I would suspect that up into here, it's going to find sellers again. Unless the whole market turned, like, for some miraculous reason, or not miraculous, but say all this trade war stuff gets resolved rather quickly, I think the market goes quite risk on pretty hard. Because we have to remember, like, Trump doesn't want the market to crash, but he is using bargaining chips. So, but I would be looking for bounces up under here to get shorted unless it flips this. Now that's a long distance, so what you could do is just wait for the daily range low to form and then look for a sweep play or something like that. Or you could go lower time frame and see what's happening. I mean, the H4 is all the way up here. And look at that perfect tag up into supply so far. I mean, supply is acting as it should. Right? But look at that. There was an instance. If you're looking for a reason to bid, there was your bearish H4 range low, put in there, swept, and there was a trade up into there, right? And if you're trading this on perps, on leverage, 37% move on 10x, 370% move, that's pretty good. You know, and you place your stop, there's a really tight invalidation. This doesn't look horrible here now, though. I think people are looking to Fartcoin as one of the go-to longs right now for perps. Your invalidation is still down here. What can I use? Yeah, you would put your invalidation. I'll use this. You would put your invalidation. Why is it? That's because the magnet's so strong. I need a little. Well, you would put your invalidation somewhere below this wick. You know, maybe a few percent below. And you could go along from here. It doesn't actually look terrible on H4. What's your downside from here? I mean, 20%. It's not nothing. Because you'd have to do about like 23% on your stop. But it's looking constructive. Like, what's H1? Did we put in a higher high in H1? Oh, okay. Okay, so there's your H1 setup right there. Let me remove these and you can see. Look at that, you even had H1 sweeps, right? But here's your H1 setup. You got your higher high right there. Here's your demand. Came back down, swept. Swept the H1 bullish range low. I mean, that was a pretty clean setup. That's quite a clean setup, actually. It's a little bit late to be entering now because you're so far off where your invalidation is, because your invalidation is down below here. But that was a clean setup. You'd be looking for it to come back up into here and see what happens when it gets back to supply, right? Like, here's your H1 range high. There was your entry. And if it makes another higher high here, well, then you keep holding. You look for your higher low here, or if you're looking for the next entry, your higher low here, and so on until it breaks H1. Or say you just, if it sweeps here, then it's also a cut. It's pretty clean though. Just looking at the chat, Moses asking hyperliquid eco coins. To be honest with you, I haven't been looking at them in a while, and I don't really feel like going through the whole hyperliquid list of coins to find ones to look at. We can do that for a future stream. I just haven't been paying attention to hyperliquid in a little while. I was for a bit. From what I last recall, a lot of them had been a lot of downward pressure. And nothing is on my radar at the moment. To be honest, nothing is really on my radar at the moment outside of new launches for quick flips and predominantly on Solana, or just monitoring the majors to understand where we might be headed. So yeah, I don't really have a list of hyperliquid coins, and I don't really feel like going through because there's a lot of them on there. Okay, and the next request was for UFD, Unicorn Fart Dust. So unicorn fart dust is bearish. It has been actually for a while, but I put in a fresh lower low there. I mean, I don't know what you want to do with this, right? Because here was your first lower low. There's your next lower low. And look at that each time. Low, tag supply, sell off. Low, tag supply, sell off. Fresh low. So I would suspect that if it does get a bounce up into here, okay, let me get rid of these dev trades for a second. There we go. Here's your daily range high. It's a bearish range. It's looking heavy. And then underneath there, like, yes, you have a level here that you could be watching for, which is swept once. It's come down pretty close again, but it's looking like it's going to come down. I don't know. I think this run is over. Like, it had that whole thing where he was hacked and then people sent stuff to him and blah, blah, blah. It's a nice narrative and all, but to be honest with you, before the hack even took place, it had already made a lower low. But I think the hack news was here, and that's what sent that down, right? So it had already been bearish for quite a while. Does it find a bottom at some point? Sure, maybe. I think what you're actually waiting for is the proper swing low to form, because you didn't make a fresh lower low until here, till yesterday's close, right? So where is your daily range low going to form? Unless you get a sweep of one of these levels again. Like, maybe it sweeps that, maybe it sweeps this. You'll have to see. But at the moment, like, I wouldn't. But it's nothing against any particular coin right now. It's just everything in the market looks like shit. So the trouble is, have you been holding? Like, if you're a holder of any of the coins we looked at today from up here, well, yeah, you're in a lot of pain. And like, what were your signals to get out? Well, there's been quite a few, right? I mean, on this one, it was a pretty late signal for H4, but I bet you on H1 there was. Yeah, I mean, even on this, you had hopes for a while, right? Until H1 lost. Like, it's nothing against any coin right now. Everything looks like absolute shit. And trying to find a bottom on these, I think your time could be better spent elsewhere. Like, just scale down your risk sizing and focus on new launch volume. I guess you're going to encounter a lot of rugs, and you really have to sharpen your ability to read a narrative and to look at things like bundles and holders and top traders and things like that. But I think you're going to have a better time than trying to find a bottom on all of these. Like, the market's in pain right now. It's going to take some time. I don't think we're just going to get like a sharp V reversal. I could be wrong. If some super bullish shit comes out of the US and Trump, like, whatever it is that he's doing in the background works out, like, in a short time frame, maybe everything just starts to skyrocket. But like, I wouldn't. This just looks like a lot of chop before going lower. Like, I'm trying to even look at this, like, well, here's your H4 range. It is very clearly a bearish H4 range. If you get a sweep down here, there's your trigger. If you get a close above here, you look to buy the higher low and to demand somewhere in here, wherever that demand. At the moment, though, like, if you've been holding this all the way down here, that's pain. And what's your strategy, right? It's like, okay, for this particular range, it would have to close down here. And then you're cutting yourself even further. If you get a close above here, though, then you can say, okay, maybe I hold this longer, because maybe we're going to start stair-stepping, doing that bullish stair-stepping upwards. But at the moment, you're in a tough spot. And I wouldn't want to be buying this right now. Let's take a look in the chat in Twitch. Prince of Zelda said, "Hey, Rap, long time no see. Will the stream recordings be available?" Yeah, it's currently being simul streamed to YouTube as well. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing the YouTube simul streams because I think I want to just move the community over to Twitch, but the recordings will be available up on YouTube. And I'm not sure if Twitch you can post recordings or not. I think maybe they have to be edited. So I'll have to look into that for the future. I don't have an editing team and I'm not an editor. I don't want to spend my time editing videos. So I'll have to figure that out in the future. But for now, yes, the recording will be available on YouTube to watch into the future. Okay. Well, that was the last request from the AFM TG group. I know that Moses requested the ETH BTC chart, so we're going to take a look at that quickly, and then we're going to wrap things up because we're already pushing past 1 hour. We're an hour and 20, and I don't want to go too much longer. I want to try and keep these short. So we'll do that real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Just checking, were there any more questions in particular about the charts we've looked at? No, doesn't look like it. So let's pull up the trading view. And we'll look at ETH BTC real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. Hmm. I don't want the Coinbase one, though. Oh, okay. Well, here's ETH BTC. It made a daily lower low. I mean, shit, it's not looking good. This is the lowest ETH BTC has been since 2021. Since January 2021. That is wild. It doesn't look great. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I believe we were chatting about this in the chat yesterday, Moses. Like, ETH BTC doesn't look great. There it is now. Fresh multi-year lows. Like, we're talking 4-year lows on ETH BTC. Yeah. Well, there's your bearish daily range high. There's your supply zone. There's your lower low. Yeah, that's a long wick. But it's going to come up into here, and now you have supply. And this zone here. Now, the one thing that could save this is monthly, right? Because this is a monthly demand. If the monthly closes back up in here, and the month just started, so you've got a long way to go. If the month closes back up in here as a massive wick, say it wicks, and it closes up here, well, then that looks pretty bullish on a monthly time frame, right? But you're still going to have to contend in the meantime with the fact that you're building in these daily supply zones. It does not look pretty, though. And I was a long-term ETH bull. I still hold some Ethereum, but that is not pretty at all. Yeah, we had that conversation yesterday, literally day after nukes. Painful to watch, but glad we had that conversation. It is painful to look at. I think the reality is Ethereum is far off from its intended vision and purpose. Doesn't really feel like it has much of a purpose. Now, I still talk about TradFi tokenizing things on ETH rails. I think that is still a possibility, but it's just not a short to midterm future that the market sees at all. So you gotta, the market is right. The individual does not. And at the moment, very bearish ETH BTC. I mean, we didn't even need to look at this though, right? Like, all we need to do to know what the ETH BTC chart looks like is look at BTC and look at ETH, right? Like, I mean, that just tells you all you need to know about what the ETH BTC chart's going to look like. Broke out of that range, higher highs, still within this massive range. This is just insane, this BTC chart. That's quite a wick though. So things are bouncing. Some things are bouncing. But wow, that's insane. Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? Is there anything else you guys want to chat about before we wrap this up? Still got 7 of you here. I do appreciate each and every one of you that showed up. My plan and my goal is to get these going more consistently again. To do them, I'm actually going to probably try and do them a few times a week. Much shorter streams. Maybe what I'll try and do is do a stream around New York Open. Like I've been doing the overview charts in the AFM Telegram group. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a stream half an hour to an hour after New York Open, and we can take a look at overall things, the overall market, and take a look at a few charts and get into some more workflow stuff. Get back into teaching the system, highlighting structure, bias, swing high, swing low, supply demand, triggers on lower time frames. Look at more shitcoins. Look at more workflow with the discovery, with the Chain Edge terminal, which is getting closer to public release. So yeah, if there's no further questions, again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. Once again, my name is 0x Rapture, and this has been The Daily Edge Presents Astrology for Men. Brought to you, of course, by The Daily Edge, thedailyedge.com, where you can sign up for your free daily newsletter, and Chain Edge, chainedge.io. I want to remind you all that I'd like to remind you all to like, subscribe, and comment if you're watching on YouTube, or to follow on Twitch, where I will be hosting these streams moving forward. Looking forward to all the cool things you can do with Twitch, and a lot of the crypto community is already there. So I will be doing the streams from Twitch, so please do follow along. There's thedailyedge.com/subscribe. And if you click through the description on YouTube, there are links in the description below to all the socials, or if you're on Twitch from the channel, there's a link to my X account as well to BullX, my BullX Neo Ref link. If you're looking for a trading terminal that has a lot of features that are demanded in today's market environment with solid execution, there is a ref link to get access to BullX Neo, where you get 10% off your fees. So go ahead and check that out. I do a lot of my trading on BullX. The charts, as I was mentioning before, have sort of become industry standard that the majority of the market's paying attention to. The levels are respected. The levels are important. So I would recommend giving it a shot. And once again, just thank you all, and we'll close out listening to some music as we usually do. Catch up with you guys soon. Thanks for showing up. Ciao.